for being here today and connecting and communicating with you about Lights on Stratford. We're very excited about this initiative. I just wanted to start a little bit about explaining why we are trying to mount a major new festival in the middle of a pandemic with a greatly compressed timeline. It's not for the faint of heart, and I'll tell you a little bit about where this started. So first and foremost, this initiative is an economic recovery one. This was born from the Stratford Economic Response and Recovery Task Force and the amazing collaboration really between four main entities, and that's Invest Stratford, Stratford City Centre BIA, Destination Stratford, and the City of Stratford. So a huge thank you to those founding members who allowed for this to be born and to participate. And in particular, I want to thank both Rebecca and Kim for actually boots on the ground and helping us with all kinds of things in terms of getting this festival. And to Rob Russell, I don't know where you find the volunteer hours for doing what you do, but thank you very much. So Stratford is home to some of the world's top artists, lighting designers, props builders, and just creative minds and talent. And the task force was looking around at what we can do to try to help. And we know that harnessing this precious resource of talent local to Stratford is a really unique opportunity. And that's sort of the bedrock of what Lights on Stratford is about. So from an economic recovery standpoint, we wanted to create employment opportunities and earning opportunities to a lot of these creative, talented folks who found themselves temporarily out of work for this year. And this was a win-win from our perspective to do something new. We also have a lot of constraints, as everyone will appreciate, in terms of cultural events that you can safely host. It has to be outdoors. There was the challenge of winter, and there was an intention about doing something between November and March as being a really challenging time for our tourism businesses. And how could we be most impactful to help from an economic recovery standpoint? So we came up with this idea of a 3-month festival, and it not only helps in the here and now by hiring people to help put this festival together, but it has a lot of long-term objectives as well. For this winter, we like to create a tourism draw, but do that safely and make sure that we are attracting people in a way that meets the requirements for crowds, distancing, et cetera, which is its own set of challenges from a health and safety standpoint. But we also want to turn this into an annual festival that repeats and ultimately creates a more robust and year-round tourism economy. So hopefully coming out of these challenges posed by the pandemic, we can, I don't want to steal from the Liberals, but I think it's grow back better, build back better I think is what they use. So the idea of how can we position ourselves in the future to be more robust as a tourism sector and economy. I just want to do another shout out to the community at large and all the incredible business sponsors that have helped produce this. We are launching in a couple of weeks, and we have been very, very successful in coming together as a community. There was too many businesses to list. I think there are something close to 50 businesses involved, either as sponsors, cash sponsors, in-kind organizations, and founding members, which is just incredible given that this didn't exist a few months ago. So it's been very fast-paced, and the community has risen to this challenge and this opportunity. So I'm going to try sharing my screen. Hopefully that works. And hopefully all of you have seen this. We've been starting to push this on our marketing channels. But I did want to highlight the schedule of this 3-month festival. There was some confusion initially in terms of it starting November 19th and everything would be online. We are intentionally doing a slower reveal where there are sort of chapters. And this starts November 19th with Market Square light sculptures. And Kaylee will be going over all of these in more detail. But I did want to share that about every week thereafter, there's a new element coming online. And we'll go into more detail into what that actually looks like. By January 2nd, everything will be online and the festival will be in full swing. And this will go right through till February 14th. So with that quick overview of where this came from and what the intention is and the schedule, I'll pass it over to Kaylee to give you some more details about the actual festival experience.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. I think that was a great overview. I'm just also going to share my screen. I'm sharing with you a document that was created quite a long time ago, it feels like now, but I have quickly updated in between meetings today. So I apologize if you find something that is wrong, flag it for me. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down a little bit here. So here's our map of exhibits. So we have our Market Square, and we're going to talk about all of these venues, as I'm calling them, outdoor venues, as well as not starred, but our storefronts that exist all the way throughout here, which Nicole will be talking about in detail. So our Tom Patterson Island, Tom Patterson Theater, Shakespearean Gardens, and Market Square. And we'll start off by talking about Market Square. So here's some just like mock-up images of Market Square, one of which Nicole created for us, and then another one created by Jay Havens, who is one of the projection designers for Market Square. Market Square, starting on November 19th, which feels very close. All of my sleepless nights are about November 19th right now, is the installation of 5 different sculptures, or at least 5 different collaborations of sculptures. So some of which have like multitude of monsters, or we are calling cornucopia of creatures, is a collaboration with several artists for light creatures that will exist in the square. I don't want to go into too much detail about what the sculptures are, because I think the unveil of them on November 19th is special, and I don't want to give that away. But what's really exciting about it is that we're bringing in some artists from away, not very far away, as away as Toronto, and lots of artists from Stratford who are collaborating on these pieces, which is really exciting. So that launches on November 19th and will be every evening minus Monday nights from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the square. Also in Market Square, starting on December 17th, which is the real sleepless nights at the moment, is a big projection exhibit, much like what you are seeing in this image here, created by Jay, onto the building itself. And I'm just going to scroll down a little bit so that I have my notes here too. We have a bunch of collaborators on this piece of the project, and those collaborators are Jay Havens, who will be creating a land acknowledgement and sun/dawn show. I won't go into super great detail. Sean Newenhouse, projection designer, Denise Karn, who lives here in town, who's a projection designer, Adam Campbell, who's a composer that lives here in town. Vern Good is a sound designer and composer in town. You've probably seen lots of Vern's work on the Stratford stages, as well as Denise's, and Sean's, actually. Unsettled Scores is a group of composers. They live in London. They are Indigenous composers who will be collaborating on this piece. And a land acknowledgement created by 3 performers who have all worked on the Stratford stages before: Natasha Greenblatt, Yolanda Bonnell, and Gordon White. And that again launches on December 17th and will run in the evenings and the morning. So we have Thursday evening from 6 to 9. Friday morning, we have our sun ceremony in the morning from 7:30 to 8 a.m. And then in the evenings, Friday, Saturday, Friday and Saturday, and then morning on Sunday. Scroll down. Did somebody want to say something? I heard a noise. No. Shakespearean Gardens, which is my kind of my passion project at the moment, because I am designing this with Louise Guinon and Doug Lettingham and Peter McBoyle and Deanne Choi. It's a dream team to work with at the moment. This is a mock-up that actually Nicole and I collaborated on creating. And the idea that I have of Shakespearean Gardens is that you see from a distance a garden of white, beautiful light. Fiber optic light, if you can think about what that is like, kind of like a twinkly light. And then as soon as someone enters the garden, a motion detector senses them, and color comes alive in the garden and follows them throughout the garden. And a series of cues will happen along with music when someone enters. So it's like the magic of the garden and the magic of life and nature and spring comes alive in the colors of the flowers of spring. I could go on for a long time, but I won't. And I told you about our team, mainly Stratford locals, which is awesome, and they're an amazing team of people. We have our storefronts. I'm going to skip past that because Nicole's going to talk about it after. The Tom Patterson Island. This is just a pulled stock image that we found as inspiration for the Tom Patterson Island. We are going to be closing the Tom Patterson Island off to people walking on the island. So this will be a viewable event from the road or from the walkway, so you can walk or drive by. This means that we have to worry a little bit less about things being vandalized and stolen. And we also have to worry a little bit less of people on that bridge and the health and safety concerns of that in the winter. We are planning on lighting up the trees in a beautiful way. We've talked about, and actually, Kim, you will be so happy. There's a possibility that that tree might actually happen. So the singing tree, or version of, which is something Kim sent a long time ago. And then we have wayfinding, which is our snowflakes that we normally see on our hydro poles are going to be used as wayfinding. This is a little out of order at the moment. Used as wayfinding to take us from place to place. So instead of them being on their normal route, they are going to be also along Lakeside, taking us to Tom Patterson Island and past the Tom Patterson Theater, will taking us down towards the Shakespearean Gardens and in and around all of our storefronts that are participating in whatever way that is. Also, I don't have an image for it right now, is the Tom Patterson Theater. I'm going to stop sharing. The Tom Patterson Theater, Michael Walton has been hired as the lighting designer of the Tom Patterson Theater project, which I can only assume will be absolutely beautiful, as he is incredibly talented. And so the Tom Patterson Theater will also be lit up so that when you are driving by or walking by on your snowy evening, your chilly evening, you can see the wonder that is that brand new building that I am so anxious and incredibly excited to be inside of. So yeah, Nicole, do you want to talk about, Nicole and I have just come back from doing a bunch of meetings with store owners and retailers today. So it's fresh in our minds, our ideas for what the storefronts are. So yeah, take it away, Nicole.
Lovely, everyone. Hi, I'm Nicole. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, brilliant. I've been having microphone issues, so I just wanted to double check before I get too far into speaking to you all. So yeah, absolutely. Part of our Light Festival is going to be activating some of the downtown storefront windows. So we will be working with store owners to basically highlight their windows. Part of this will be actually creating a frame of LED light, which will almost operate like a wayfinding or a way of sort of drawing people into these storefronts. So this would be visible, say, from across the street, spilling out into the sidewalk. And then when a viewer approaches or someone from the public kind of comes up to the window, we also will be adding in projection mapping into the windows themselves, which will add a little bit of magical sort of light movement across different surfaces in the window. So basically really highlighting the window itself and the design of the window as per each store owner has kind of decided it will be, and adding that little bit of magic or extra attention to those storefronts.
Do you want to share, you were going to share one of those
Oh yes,
images
absolutely. Thank you for reminding me.
Or video.
Yes,
Thanks,
I have a
Nicole.
couple of images and video just because that sounds, I think, fairly abstract. So you can kind of see how these are a couple of still images. You can get a sense of the sort of color and different patterning that we're able to project into the different windows. So, sorry, perfect. So again, really working with these various surfaces where we're highlighting certain objects or maybe display function objects that then also brings attention to the products in the window themselves. So a variety of different color palettes as well as patterns and different types of motion are available. And so this is just a quick video showing or highlighting how that could appear. So in this case, kind of more of a smoky black and white with the striped animation as well. So once again, really having that highlight of the LED framing, and then as you get closer to the window, seeing these sorts of magical light moving moments.
Awesome. Beckoning us in and then showing us the magic, which is kind of what we keep coming back to. All of these things have a beckoning aspect of like, here is the beacon of light and then the magic within it.
Thank you. Perfect.
Not an accident, I guess. Thank you so much.
And then we have Rob Russell, who's going to speak to the business involvement and a few other items. Thank you, Nicole.
Great. Hi, everybody. Good to see everyone here. So yeah, business engagement. I stuck myself at the end here because I thought after everybody spoke, if you guys weren't engaged, you know, it would just make my job easy because I'm sure everybody is. So just to get into some details, one of the cool things that happened was that RTO4 sponsored a shareable moments project, which enabled about $40,000 to go into stores and organizations creating some special light sculptures or activities. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the exact words is escaping me, but anyway, light experiences, that was it. So, and all of that money was spoken for. And so we've got quite a few projects. I think it was 11 in all, but Zach, you got the nod. So 11 in all. So that's amazing. But that still leaves, and we had the projectors, of course, which Nicole just spoke on, which are amazing. But there's still, what can other businesses do? And there's so many possibilities. And it can be big or small. This is the thing. I think the key here is that we just want everybody to feel that they can get involved in their own way, and whatever makes sense for your business, for where you might have room to do something, whether it be in your window or something on the shop floor. Some examples that have come up, for instance, Pazzo's as a restaurant is doing a special French themed pop-up for the entirety of Lights On, doing a whole French themed menu and some other things. And they've got some light experiences going on as well in their establishment. For myself, I went ahead and bought about 400 feet of Edison patio lights that I'm going to string over the entirety of our 2,500 square foot ceiling in the shop. We haven't put them up yet, but I'm hoping that there's enough light that we can kill the other fluorescent lights and it'll create a really cool mood. And nobody can copy me because I bought all the lights. They're all gone. So anyway, but that is just a couple of ideas. Another one, sorry, just really quick to talk about myself again, because I just haven't had a chance to hear what a lot of businesses are doing yet as we're in the early stages. We have a big Claymore sword in the shop, and so we're going to wrap some red LED lights around the blade to make it kind of look like blood, and just thought that would be a cool thing for people to take a picture with. But that's the idea. It's trying to figure out, you know, think about your scale. You know, do you want to spend $50 on something, you know, up 1,000, and where you might put something? But it's really, I think that it's going to be special for people when we all get engaged at our own level and in a way that just makes sense within our own business. To that end, there is another thing that, you know, we're really hoping that we can bring people on board, the businesses and especially the retail, because this is a time frame when most restaurants, for instance, are often open, is considering opening later. This is always a challenge for all of us. There's lots of hurdles with things like this, but basically the full-on experience of the festival every week is going to be on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. If anybody can even consider a way to stay open 1, 2, or, you know, amazingly, if it can be all 3 nights, I think a lot of our businesses stay open till 6 o'clock or close to it, adding an extra hour or 2 when the people are arriving, being as these experiences are activated between 6 and 9, you know, in their full effect, and when it's dark. I think that'll be special because people are going to be coming from in town, of course, but we're going to have people, hopefully we're drawing from Kitchener or London, you know, as long as it's safe, bringing them regionally. And we all know what it's like when you get somewhere and you're excited to have an experience and not all of it's really there, you know? So the light festival is going to be amazing. It can stand on its own legs in a way, but it really can't, because people are going to come and have this experience, but there's going to be time left, or time in between when they're going from one place to another. And I really do hope that we can find a way to get everyone to get on board with this. You know, it's again, to Zach's point at the very beginning, this is a recovery project. I think a recovery project only works if we're there to enjoy the recovery, to reap the benefits. So getting creative, I do understand we have some retailers who literally come in and do everything themselves all day long, and my hat's off, because I know how tough that is. But whether it's considering trying to open later, and again, maybe this is an after the Christmas solution as opposed to, you know, opening at noon right before Christmas when it's hopefully nice and busy. But certainly January, February, considering things like opening later so that you can stay open later, you know, or trying to find somebody to hire. My hope is that it can be seen as an investment rather than an expense, because we are very confident that this is going to be a success and that we're going to see people come. And this is a great chance for us to get a little bit more of a nest egg as we move into what is always a difficult winter time, you know, in this part of the world. So yeah, that's really my pitch there. I'm hoping that we can find a way to make that work, and overcome those obstacles. And yeah, hopefully everybody can think of some ideas and you know, fire them. Feel free to email me if you want, you know, just somebody to fire ideas off of, or anybody. I'm sure on Lights On, you know, we're all pretty busy, but everybody's so engaged and excited about this. But yeah, that would be my piece on the business engagement and opening late. So I'll turn it back over to Rebecca.
Thank you. I just wanted to also touch on the selection process for, there's 20 retail businesses that were selected for the projection project. That was a selection process that went with Nicole, Kaylee, and Kim, and Zach. I think you did a walkabout, and they chose retail specifically because restaurants got a lot of love this summer. And we also just thought it was a good project for retail because you can highlight specific items. But those businesses were selected because of location and also just logistics. With particular windows, it's easier to install the projector itself. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. The number of, we're doing up to 20 of those installations, and you'll see them all peppered through all the main streets. So with that said, that's a lot of information, and I thank everybody for sharing their parts. I even learned more today. I love that. I'm really excited to see the visuals and hear more about the plans. But I'd like to now hand it over to everyone here for questions. If you have a question, please use the raise hand feature, which you will find at the bottom bar under participants, and we will answer as best we can. Anyone? Sitaj.
Hi. So if I want to do something in my building outside, to project something on the building at the corner of York and Erie, can I use this, like the poles that the city has? I hear that there's, like, could I access the electricity from there to project for a projector?
So there is electrical coming from those poles. I will say it is quite difficult in that, depending on, I can't remember what your pole is like there, whether it's like one of the big street lights themselves, like the gooseneck ones, or one of the smaller ones. The smaller ones are a little bit easier because it's not as high up. The bigger ones would be an issue, and I'd say kind of not possible. The smaller ones, it's possible that we could take power from there, but it's something that we would not need to talk to Festival Hydro about. And I could certainly put you in touch with Jeff Graham, who we've been talking to about hydro.
Okay.
If possible, I would say it's easier for you to run an extension cord from inside your shop to where you would want to put it.
Okay.
Another element here is just ensuring that we're checking with the city of Stratford. So if we're going to be doing anything out of the ordinary, we do have some bylaws surrounding lighting and windows. So we have Danielle Ingram on here right now, who's one of our counselors, and she actually is a BIA member. So just flagging that, as well as we're, just like us working through our projects, we have to work closely with the city to ensure that we're adhering to kind of all the bylaws and rules and safety. So yes.
So who would I talk to about if the city, where do I go if I want to ask?
I would start, I mean, we can always be a liaison for you, but I would start with the clerk's office, and they can kind of direct you to the right place.
So I should contact you first?
You could, if you'd like to start a dialogue through email, I can help you with that, but I would say that if you're going to do something specific to your own business outside of your store, you would contact the clerk's office just to ensure that you're ticking all the right boxes and working with them.
Okay, thank you.
We are excited to see what people come up with and how they'll participate. That said, too, in hospitality, like, we are encouraging, special menus and just putting your own spin on the whole thing, on the theme of the festival, as Rob had indicated. Any other questions?
I think that means we did our job well.
I think that I see a question in the chat. Somebody who doesn't know how to raise their hand.
Oh, Megan from Onstage.
That's me. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead.
With that part. I know I had emailed with, I think it was maybe Kaylee before, asking about possibilities for incorporating some kind of outdoor dance performance on one of the nights or various nights. I have lots and lots of dancers that are really eager for performance opportunities, and it's kind of a no cost type of thing to add. My kids would just do it and my staff would get it all prepared. But I know there was some concern about meeting rules for live performances. So I'm just wondering if there's any updates on that, or if it's anything we've thought about.
I believe we had some email exchange about it, and we've been approached by quite a few live performance elements, from concerts to dance and others. The health and safety is quite rigorous right now, is how I'll put it in a sort of polite way. So the very first step that I would encourage you to do, if you do want to bring a live element that involves a crowd, is to reach out to HPPH here on Perth Public Health and find out whether it's possible at this time.
Yeah, I have. And I feel like I have a pretty good grip and understanding of all the regulations. I think it would be doable. Of course, depending on the space, I would probably have to work with the city to confirm that we could get a space that would be big enough. But basically, we'd have to run the performance in a similar way to how we run our classes, which is just distanced and masked.
Right. Megan, I will say, I, like you, I'm hungry for live performance, absolutely, and I would love to accommodate this. But in our health and safety plan, we have said that all of our venues are a walk-through experience to meet all of the regulations right now. With the amount of volunteers and security that we can accommodate, we have said that everything, including Market Square and Shakespeare and Gardens, that are immersive, are all walk-through experiences. So we are expecting that people enter and exit within a certain period of time, which doesn't really accommodate for a performance happening. It's incredibly unfortunate that I have to say that to you, because again, I would really love some live performance in my life, speaking as someone who that is my bread and butter and my joy and passion. But coming from a health and safety point of view, that is what we have had to do to accommodate this festival this year.
Yeah, that all makes sense. I'm going to keep brainstorming some options. We've got some big windows up there on our
Totally.
We'll see if there's something we can come up that way.
I'm like, fingers crossed that things change for the better and we can move forward and that health and safety document is subject to change and hopeful change, absolutely, and our plan. So animation events like this one, if not possible this time, this year for our pilot project, hopefully possible in future iterations.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan. Are there any other questions? I was going to note on that same topic, though. We did learn through the animation pieces that we did and the very well-planned animation we did through the summer. So we had summer music, had a floating barge. It had to be mobile. And then we had Street Side Live in Market Square that had planned to be in different areas of the city. But because of crowding, we had to have it in Market Square and count the amount of people that were attending and be very strict about that. So that it just, we learned from that situation that it's difficult to guarantee numbers of people when you have events like that. So.
If there's no other immediate questions, maybe I'll just talk a little bit about marketing. So our marketing engine is just coming online now. We are starting to get earned media that we didn't ask for, which is fabulous, but we also have to be a little bit cautious about where we're marketing to. We at Destination Stratford are not doing destination marketing, for instance, in any hotspot area, including the GTA and Ottawa and places like that. So in a lot of ways, our normal MO for marketing an event like this is non-existent. We have to be very creative. We will be bringing in stuff that we've been successful with over the last couple of months, from Stratford Al Fresco and Chocolate Trail and other various initiatives, a lot of cultural events that happened over the summer. We will be filming video, and we'll be sharing video snippets and digital advertising right up until January 2nd, at which point we will have a 60-second video that covers the full gamut of the Lights on Stratford Festival experience. And we'll be running that on TV distribution channels in London and Kitchener-Waterloo, if it's safe at that time to do so. Right now, we make the call on a weekly basis of whether we are going to engage with a market depending on how the pandemic is playing out and what makes the most amount of sense. We will be bringing in regional influencers, and as I mentioned, the earned media will actually have to be a bit controlled. So if Globe and Mail picks this up, we were just in Narcity. So a lot of that is out of our hands, and it's an issue if there are small crowd size requirements if we have a lot of people coming. So this is something that we're being very mindful of from a marketing standpoint. We want this to be successful, and we want this to be at or near a safe capacity, which is a bit of a moving target these days. So I just wanted to mention that there's a lot of intention going into the marketing of this, and we will scale up and down as necessary. But already, on its own, without spending any money thus far in terms of marketing this festival, there's a huge desire for these types of experiences. And I think if this is done carefully and sensitively, we will achieve our objective of this primarily being an economic recovery initiative.
Thank you, Zach. Are there any other questions? Well, if there aren't any other questions, thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. Really happy to be here to offer some information about this. I'm very excited about this project. I think it's going to give us an opportunity to have, animation and during what is usually our darker months, and silver linings. We didn't have a Lights On Festival last year, but pretty excited to see where this goes and the participation of our members. If any of you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to our team. And I also just wanted to mention a little plug for a partnership that we have with the Stratford Business Center, Invest Stratford, BIA, Destination Stratford. We have inclusion training happening for members on Monday and Tuesday morning at Revival House or by Zoom. That registration is still open for anyone who is interested. We are encouraging people to participate. So that's happening Monday and Tuesday, I think 8:30 to 11 a.m. And we will send out another reminder. I think maybe Kim did already today about how to register for that. So I just wanted to put that out there. We have an amazing facilitator coming in, and they're going to be working with our businesses, and then separate to that, they're going to be working with board and staff of our organizations, and we're very excited about that as well. So thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you all soon. Take good care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.